Now we will talk about abiotic factors, and here we'll see what are the abiotic factors. The first abiotic factor we'll discuss about, that is temperature. So when we talk about the temperature, so temperature normally in physics, chemistry, you will find the temperature is a degree of hotness or coldness of an object, that's known as its temperature. And it has different units. You have Kelvin, you have Fahrenheit, and you have degree Celsius or centigrade. So now when you are talking about the temperature, it means that the temperature of the habitat or the temperature of that ecosystem and how the animals survive there. This is really important because the animals or the organism, they are adopting the temperature of the habitat, and their body, you can say, are molded or modified in such a way they can bear that temperature, either it is very cold, very hot, or the normal temperature. The second abiotic factor is humidity. If you study the evaporation, and in that, what is humidity? Humidity means the water vapors present in the atmosphere or in the air. If there are more water vapors in the air, so that will say humidity level is high. If there are less water vapors, so we say humidity level is low. When you go to any seaside, like you go to Dammam or you go to Jeddah or you go to Port Sudan, any the coastal areas, so especially in the summer, you will find that the humidity level is very high because there is a evaporation is occurring there, and evaporation, due to evaporation, the water vapors mix in the air, so that is humidity level is really high there. After that, the measure of how damp means wet the air is, how much water vapors it holds. So usually expressed as relative humidity, they have the like a levels. Relative humidity express the humidity as percentage, also in the percentage. Sometime if you see the weather on your mobile, so they give a level of humidity, mean how much percent. They will say humidity level is 8%. So it means that 8% water vapors are present in the air. So this is known as humidity. So this is another abiotic factor of the ecosystem. After that, we talk about the water. Water is essential for all the life, that, and it is mainly responsible for the producers, where they make the food by using the photosynthesis. And after that, plants obtain water. They also obtain water from the soil, and water content of the soil is important factor that in determining where exactly plant species lives. Now you know that this, for example, this is the soil. In the soil you have water. This water level is different. For example, if you find the area like area where you have rainfall, a lot of rainfall, so here water level will be really high. But the area like Saudi Arabia, where you have desert, so in the soil the water content is very low. And this water content will decide that which type of plants will grow here. If the water level or the water content is really low, so then you will find the plants which need less water. And if the water content is high here, so you will find the plants which needs more water. So here they're saying that how much water is present in the soil, it will decide that which kind of plants will be present there. So this is the water. After that, we talk about oxygen. If you talk about the atmosphere, we have discussed in the previous lessons also that sometimes written 20% and not 21%. The nearly 21% oxygen in the air decrease with the increasing the altitude. So they're saying if you go to a higher place, the amount of oxygen will be less. So sometime, for example, let's say this is the mountain and you are here. So here you can breathe really well because oxygen level is really high. But if you go to a mountain area or like some, you can say a hill station, so when you go there, the oxygen level will decrease, and then the lot of people they feel the breathing difficulties. So the same thing they are mentioning here. The oxygen level decreases with the increase in altitude, means increase in height. If you go really on a high place, usually it expressed as the part per million, ppm, part per million in water. In some time, if you see a water bottle, for example, if you see this mineral water bottle you are drinking, so here where the composition written, so you will find their oxygen maybe it isn't there 0.2 ppm. Even the other salts they are written here 5.4 ppm. ppm means per the parts per million. It means in 1 million you have this much of oxygen if you divide them. So it is just like a, you can say, information, so no need to worried about this one. Not very soluble in water, so all aquatic organisms have adaptation to get enough. They're saying that the oxygen is not much soluble in water, so the animals who are living in the water, so they have to adopt something so they can take the oxygen. For example, fish they use gills to breathe in the water. Okay, and some of the fish they come up, like big fish they come up, you can say on out of the water to take the oxygen also. It depends. So they're saying that oxygen is a need for all the organisms, living things, whatever they are, plants, animal living in the water, outside the water, in the air, all they need oxygen. But oxygen level is different at different habitats. So the animals living in that particular habitat, they will adopt, they will make some adaptation, they will change their, because some animals they breathe, they take oxygen due to their body skin. So these are the adaptation by the animals, they are doing this. Okay. Now, after that, the salinity mean that how much salt, how salty something is. So that is also is another abiotic factor of an ecosystem. So mostly that in the, you can say, if you see the seawater, in the seawater you'll find the salt level is really high, and in that, even as I told you, if you see the water bottle of mineral water you'll find this one, the salt, how much salt that there. So they had just given here example that how salty something is, it is known as salinity. And organisms living there, so they, for example, now there are some animal, the fish type of the fish you find only in sea, and some fish type you'll find only in fresh water, because their body is already adopted with the salty water. And if you bring a sea fish in a fresh water, so it has to adaptation, so sea fish have to adopt itself to the fresh water, okay, which will take time. So in this way, so the salinity or the how salty the something is also a biotic factor, and also decide the species of organism living in a habitat. After that you have a light is an also essential, especially for photosynthesis. Okay, then the pH mean, you know that pH is a scale and it will decide something is acid, base or neutral. It start from 0 and run up to 14. 7 is considered as neutral. So it also have impact on the ecosystem. Why? Because you know that we studied about the acid rain. And we said that when acid rain comes down in a lake, and if the more acid rain there, the pH of the lake will decrease, the water become acidic, and if the water become acidic, the fish and other organisms, they cannot survive there. So the pH is also an important abiotic factor. Now here they have divided the biotic and abiotic factor into, you can just like classification, you can see here. For example, now they have decided that plants, protists, animals, fungus, bacteria, all they are living things are biotic factors. Now water, soil, air, minerals, light, they are known as abiotic factors.